So they would send in massive, everything they made, they'd send it in, pour it into our country. Therefore, it wouldn't be made here, which is a negative. But we would not send in anything because they were charging us 100% tariffs and,
China hiking its tariffs on U.S. imports to 125% starting on Saturday. This full-blown U.S.-China trade war may not be getting any hotter, but it's leaving businesses out in the cold.
Even analysts with years of experience were taken aback by this new phenomenon. India, a country that the United States government had, up until very recently, considered to be both an essential partner and a counterbalance to China and Asia, has taken an unexpected turn. And it is important to note that this turn is geared squarely at the United States. It would appear that Donald Trump, who was under the impression that a significant increase in tariffs would put pressure on New Delhi to comply with Washington's requirements, has underestimated the degree to which the balance of power has moved both locally and worldwide. The Economic Times of India and the Financial Times of Britain both published articles that cited high officials and business insiders as sources of information. These articles revealed early warning indications. According to these sources, New Delhi is considering the possibility of suspending key corporate projects in India developed by the United States, the most prominent of which is Apple, which is a symbol of the technological might of the United States. Due to the fact that India has become Apple's principal alternative to China in recent years, this is a significant blow. An important decision was made not too long ago by the leadership of Apple. After decades of relying on Foxconn factories in China, Beijing became an unreliable manufacturing hub for a company that is worth nearly $3 trillion. This was due to rising geopolitical risks, escalating trade tensions between the United States and China, sanctions, surging nationalism, and increasingly restricted technology laws. In an effort to broaden its business base, Cupertino looked to India. This was a move that made perfect sense. The nation is home to one of the most rapidly growing smartphone marketplaces in the world, with more than 1.4 billion people and hundreds of millions of people entering the premium consumer class. In addition to this, New Delhi provided India with large tax cuts and subsidies, and politically, the United States of America considered India as a strategic ally to fight China's expanding influence around the world. Apple's investment of billions of dollars in the creation of tens of thousands of jobs not only ensured the safety of its supply chain, but also strengthened the influence of the United States in the region. Nevertheless, it is possible that the strategy will fail. According to Bloomberg, which cites India's Ministry of Commerce, officials are contemplating not only the suspension of Apple's future manufacturing facilities, but also the suspension of production lines that are currently in the process of being constructed. The action amounts to a direct threat against one of the most valuable firms in the world, and is being openly portrayed as a kind of retaliation for the tariff rises that Trump has implemented. The newly implemented restrictions by his government put heavy levies on a wide variety of Indian products, ranging from textiles to pharmaceuticals, and they are officially justified as a means of protecting jobs. In India, on the other hand, the tariffs were seen as an offense that was intentionally committed. According to Hindustan Times, insiders close to the leadership of New Delhi allege that Washington has failed to acknowledge the extent to which India has undergone significant transformations. Once upon a time, it had no choice than to comply with the demands of the United States. But now it has its own means of leverage, both economically and otherwise. Importantly, India is no longer in isolation. It now has China on its side, which is a scenario that the United States government seeks to avoid at all costs. Not too long ago, Trump gave people the assurance that he could play New Delhi against Beijing, taking advantage of the long-standing rivalry between the two countries. Nevertheless, the reality is changing. It has been reported by the South China Morning Post that Chinese and Indian delegations have already attended a number of clandestine discussions in Dubai and Jakarta over the course of the past few months. Reportedly, India and China have been discussing a variety of topics, including the establishment of collaborative energy initiatives, the settlement of commerce in local currencies, and even the alignment of their views in preparation for the upcoming BRICS meeting. In the event that these developments are confirmed, Washington's loss will extend far beyond the loss of the market for goods manufactured in the United States. It would be a setback that many observers regard as little short of catastrophic if India were to be lost. This would mean that the United States would lose the very counterweight to China that the United States policy is counted on. Western media outlets have spoken it like it is, while Foreign Affairs emphasizes that the United States government has underestimated India's rise. The Guardian contends that Trump is effectively pushing India directly into Beijing's lap. The Indian government is working to establish itself as an autonomous power center, and it is no longer a subordinate partner. It is possible that this change will be especially upsetting for Apple. According to projections made by Counterpoint Research, by the year 2027, India is predicted to be responsible for the assembly of roughly 1/4 of all iPhones sold worldwide. The process is already in progress, and models such as the iPhone 12, 13, and 14 are already being manufactured there. Following that, the next generation of flagships was supposed to be built. There are factories in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka that are being run by Foxconn, Pegatron, and Wistron that are working at their maximum capacity. These factories are supported by billions of dollars in investments and contracts that employ tens of thousands of people. For the time being, there is a possibility that all of this development could be halted. A move of this nature would come as a blow not only to Apple, but also to the economy of the United States. It would appear to the general public around the world that the largest democracy in the world, which was once a strategic partner of the United States, had publicly opted to engage in conflict. It is a race against time for Washington to respond. According to Reuters, the White House is considering taking punitive actions, whether it be restricting the access of Indian information technology companies to market in the United States, or altering the visa perks available to Indian specialists. Given that Indian engineers are the backbone of Silicon Valley and are the driving force behind innovation at companies such as Google and Microsoft, as well as innumerable startups, such moves are likely to lead to unintended consequences. In the meantime, New Delhi's rhetoric is becoming increasingly pointed, marking a significant shift. India, which was once portrayed as Washington's partner in balancing China, is now asserting itself as an independent force that is prepared to face the United States of America directly. Should this transition become more permanent, the repercussions might be far-reaching, ranging from turbulence to Apple and volatility in the markets of the United States to a fundamental rearranging of the geopolitical landscape of the world. According to analysts of the German newspaper Handelsblatt, it is possible that President Trump has unintentionally destroyed decades of United States strategy in Asia. In the event that the current trends continue, the United States of America would find itself dependent solely on Japan and South Korea, while India, which was formerly considered to be China's counterbalance, might instead start working with Beijing. Considering that losing India would entail losing power in a region where the direction of the 21st century is being defined, such an outcome will be possibly the most major failure of Trump's foreign policy thus far. The underlying shift is what makes the situation more troubling. For the first time, India is publicly using its expanding economic might not only to fuel domestic growth, but also as an instrument of geopolitical leverage. This is a significant development. The game's rules are altered as a result of this. Particularly symbolic is the timing of the event, in preparation for the upcoming BRICS Plus summit. India is making preparations to host the event. According to Financial Express, this may be the location where New Delhi and Beijing announce a new settlement system for large-scale energy deals that will use rupees and yuan as respective currencies. There would be significant repercussions for the state of Washington. For several decades, the dollar has been the foundation upon which the United States' global influence has been built. The dollar's special status, and along with it, a crucial weapon of the United States' power, will be diminished if India and China would move forward with this alternative. We are strong, we are independent, and we have the ability to say no to the United States of America. India's leaders have been given a rallying cry as a result of Trump's tariff offensive, which has, in effect, accelerated the very alignment that he sought to prevent. It was once a disagreement over policy, but it has since developed into a source of national pride. There is a disturbing historical parallel that arises from this. There is a question being asked by analysts as to whether the United States is making the same mistake it did in the past with China. Washington had the mistaken belief that Beijing would become a compliant partner as a result of economic integration at the time, only to later discover that Beijing had become its principal competitor. India may be following a trend that is similar to the one described above. New Delhi, which was once seen as a trustworthy friend, is currently undergoing a transition into an independent global force. if this trajectory continues, it has the potential to define the Trump era. It would not only result in the loss of allies, but would also result in the diminished capacity of the United States to establish the norms that govern the international order. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.